Now, the City of Johannesburg MMC, Michael's son, is at this hour inspecting an electric transformer that was robbed and vandalized in northern Johannesburg suburb of Greenside. Son is joined by power utility City Power officials as part of a broader oversight inspection tour. Newzroom Afrika's Tumaole Mohlaoli is there. Tumaole, a very good morning to you once again. This is a very important moment, especially as we take a look at the impact of these ongoing power outages in the country.
A very important moment indeed, and certainly an eye-opener in terms of what officials have been saying has been a knock-on effect in terms of the additional pressure that's been put on an already strained power grid. There will be the power grid that will be serving areas like Greenside and others, and we know that residents here have been complaining bitterly to officials like the councillor. Shocking sight to see a transformer like this effectively robbed. How does this happen, Councillor San?
Well, this is certainly unfortunate. This is part of the Herschel system. So what happens is that when there's long terms of outages in terms of load shedding, the criminals really have longer time to operate. I mean, you can imagine how much work it must take to steal not only the cables, but entire transformer out of a mini substation. So we had really to inspect the good work that's been carried out. In fact, we've called back all the shift workers at City Power. There was a bit of negotiations with our labor unions, but that went well, and they understand there's a bigger picture that we need to all face and address. So the work is doing, we're not only fixing, but we're upgrading this infrastructure. As you can see, the wall is very old. We want to change that wire mesh fence into a proper boundary wall, bricks and mortar, to ensure that this infrastructure is not only new, but it will be protected to service the residents of Johannesburg.
To undertake an operation of this size without perhaps drawing too much attention, one would assume that the criminals are quite sophisticated. They have the manpower, the resources, and perhaps even the cloaking gear to fool residents into thinking they're officials from City Power doing maintenance work. How can residents play a part to assist in trying to prevent something like this?
The criminals are becoming so clever now because they understand that if residents see somebody, workers in a reflector, maybe with orange cones, we naturally think as people at work, men at work. But very often they are also disguised in that way. The criminals, they work without attracting much of attention. If there's any suspicion, if you look twice and you think it's not right, please do report it. These are not ordinary thieves that are stealing cables. In fact, I can only guess they're also qualified electricians that's at work. In fact, I've spoken to my City Power colleagues that we have caught some of the City Power contractors, being involved in these criminal activities, so that we must be so careful. We really want to request our residents, if you see anything suspicious, please bring it to our attention. And my recent trip to Cape Town also brought in a lot of insight as to learn how they protect the infrastructure. That, of course, situation in Johannesburg a little bit different, but we had wonderful engagement. I was received warmly by the Western Cape Premier Ellen Wendy, and the Western Cape City of Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis and his MMCs. So the engagement was great. In the city of Joburg, we will be putting down a 1.6 billion rand investment to upgrade and protect our infrastructure. So there is definitely light at the end of our tunnel.
Right, at the end of our tunnel, light. And what about at the bottom of our pockets? How much is that going to be emptied out in terms of your reserves and coffers to try and solve this problem? How much is all this costing the city of Joburg?
Well, in the longer-term picture, City Power alone faces a 26 billion rand infrastructure backlog. Unfortunately, we do not have an overnight solution. There isn't a silver bullet. But starting with the new financial year, 1st of July, which I'm looking forward to, that we're going to start with that 1.6 billion rand as an infrastructure investment. And of course, there's many other work we need to do, not in terms of City Power alone, but also Joburg Water and Pick It Up. This is the service delivery work we must really enhance. So we have dedicated the resources that we're going to focus and invest into the Johannesburg infrastructure.
Thank you very much for your time and for updating us. That was MMC for Infrastructure for the City of Joburg and Environment. That will be, of course, MMC Michael's son. And just giving us an overview and the billions that will cost the taxpayer at the end of the day to maintain, to upgrade, to protect the infrastructure that has been damaged, as you see behind me. And certainly it seems as if the snakes in Yoga are now becoming pythons, because the jobs that they are undertaking are becoming grander in scale. Certainly something of great concern, and residents being appealed to keep an eye out on the infrastructure in the area. If they see anything untoward, any suspicious behavior, or even what seems like certified and credible contractors, to just double check and to call City Power to find out if indeed any maintenance work is being undertaken in their communities to prevent what we're seeing now. And again, it's quite a sight to behold to see a substation of this size being vandalized in this particular fashion. But that's the situation here from Greenside, and with that, it's back to you in the studio.
Right, Tumaole, before we let you go, how have the residents reacted to this? I mean, it is, as you describe the impact and the size of that station, it really is one that would have a big impact.
Well, it's a combination of emotions that residents have expressed. Residents expressing emotions of frustration because they know that this is one of the issues that is leading to what has been the rolling blackouts and the stage 5 load shedding that has affected their area and other areas in Johannesburg and beyond. However, there's also one of disbelief and shock because residents can't believe how brazen these particular criminals are, and of course a call to law enforcement agencies to act swiftly to send a message to those criminal elements that criminality of this stature will not be tolerated, and to act as a deterrent. So certainly that's the feeling, the mixed bag of feelings from residents as they respond and react to what is something of quite a shocking sight.
Very well. Let's leave it there for now. Tumaole Mohlaoli giving us a sense of the impact of the power woes across some parts of the country now.